everyone. I am so excited to do this coaching presentation tonight. And what I'm going to cover is weekly coaching, what to say and what to do every week when you're calling your clients. And I get asked this all the time, especially from newer coaches. I don't know what to say. I dread calling people because I don't know what to do when I'm coaching. And so this will make it crystal clear. And I want everyone to know that this is not rocket science. It's easy. And if you have a big heart, the right information just happens to come out. I mean, seriously, it's all about getting out of our way and caring about the people that we're talking to. So what I do whenever I have a brand new client, and last week I covered how to start a new client correctly. So we've placed their order, we've sent them the welcome email, telling them to call us when their food arrives so we can help them get started. The food arrives, we've called them, we've gone through some of the information in the quick start guide and so on and so forth. So we've done all of that. And the other thing that I do, as soon as I place the order for a brand new client, I immediately go into my back office and I add them to my monthly e-newsletter because I don't want to forget. So I add them right away, and I friend them on Facebook, or I ask them to friend me. And I also add them to my Facebook client support page, which is called Creating Health. And all of you that are on my team are welcome to use that client support page. Actually, I'm super excited about it now. We have over 400 people on that page, and it's become so much more active. That's what makes it fun. You have to have a certain number of people on a Facebook support page to even have enough interaction. So we're there. People are posting healthy recipes under the file so that all the recipes are together, and inspirational quotes, and their before and after pictures, and they're asking questions, especially when they're new to the program. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful support page. I put reminders on that page every week about the nurse's support call on Mondays, the doctor's support call on Wednesdays. So again, you're welcome to add your clients, but don't add them to more than one Facebook support page. If you're using someone else's page, then don't add them to another page, or take them off the one that you're taking them, or take them off the one that they were on before. So my weekly coaching is very organized. And again, when you're a newer coach, oftentimes you're calling your client on the day that they started, on the day that they're weighing in. But I set the parameter for my clients because I don't want to be making client phone calls 7 days a week. I have lots of other things that I do on other days. So this is what works for me. It doesn't work for everyone. I know Johnny mentioned to me that if he did all of his client calls on one day, it's overwhelming for him. So he does about 10 calls a day over 5 days. So whatever works for you, just set up a system. But for me, I do all of my coaching Mondays between 6 a.m. and about 6 p.m. is when I'm finished. And the way, and what I tell my clients is every Monday morning, I want you to text me your weight, and then I will call you sometime Monday. If I happen to run out of time on Monday, then I will overflow into Tuesday. So Monday, I was doing the talk at our monthly client talk, and I had to stop client calls around 4 o'clock in order to get ready for that. And it really kind of got me behind this week. So those are the parameters that I set. Text me, and then I'll call you at my convenience. And I usually will call clients in the order of the text. So, I have a client, John. He's the first one that texts me every week. He's going to be the first phone call. But you can, create whatever system you want. The other thing that I do is I use a 3-ring notebook. It's a pretty thick notebook, 3-inch notebook. And it's got alphabet tabs. So I've got all of my clients in there. And I begin my calls, again, with the newer active clients, especially the ones that have texted me their weight. And then the ones that are left over that I haven't gotten text messages from, I start one week at the front of the alphabet and I go back. And then the following week, I start at the back of the alphabet and I go forwards. So that the same people aren't being called at the end of the day every Monday or, early Monday. So that's just my system. And I have all of my clients in that notebook because I want to flip through and some of them may be in maintenance. Some of them I may have done a profile on them, but they haven't yet ordered. They're still thinking about it, or they're waiting until after Christmas or after their vacation or after their birthday. So by flipping that, seeing that page in the notebook, that's a memory jogger for me that I need to follow up with that person. And I may not be following up with them every single week, but again, I'll see them in the notebook. And I skip over the inactive people, but the ones that are in maintenance, I will call them monthly, or some of them I call quarterly. So again, you're going to develop your own flow, your own system, your own style. And that's what's wonderful. It's your business. You can do what you want. Now, what I hear from coaches a lot is, well, all of my clients work, so I can only call them in the evening. Well, most of my clients also work, but somehow I manage all of my calls between 10 a.m. and the last one is usually no later than 6 p.m. So how do I manage that when my clients work as much as your clients do? Well, when I'm starting them, their food has arrived and we're setting these parameters, I'll say, Mary, can you talk during the day? I know she works because it's on her profile form and I've gotten to know her a little bit. Can you talk during the day? And she'll tell me, yes, I can. I can, talk during lunchtime, or I take breaks, or I can talk when the kids are, doing recess if they're a teacher. So you'll be surprised how many people can talk during your business hours. And the beauty of this business is you are creating a lifestyle for yourself. And if all of your, if every evening you're tied up doing phone calls, that's not much of a lifestyle. Your kids aren't able to interact with you because you're on the phone all the time. So the other thing that works for me is with people that work, I will text them first. John, can you talk now? And he'll text me right back, yes, now is good, or call me in 10 minutes. And I might say, if he or she texts back and say, I can't talk now, I'll say, what time can you talk today? And then I put that in my phone with an alert so that I don't forget. So that's, part of my system. So what do you say when you're making your weekly coaching call? I've written out some sample scripts here. This is pretty much what I do, every time. Hi, John, this is Dee. Is this a good time to talk? Or do you have a few minutes? You don't want, you want to be respectful. They might be right in the middle of something and you're blabbing on about their coaching call. So you always ask, is this a good time to talk? What are we celebrating today? And then he says, I've lost 2 pounds. I always say, what does the scale say? Because I have their profile form in front of me. I've got all of their numbers, and they may not remember. They think it's 2 pounds. It's actually 4 pounds. And so I always ask what the scale says. I don't want them to tell me it's 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. I want the weight on the scale. And then you make a big deal. If it's 1 pound, you make a big deal. If it's 5 pounds, you make a big deal. Oh my gosh, John, that's fabulous. You're down a total of, 50 pounds. How are you feeling? If they're newer in the program, are you feeling hungry? Do you have more energy? Have you started reading Dr. Anderson's book and workbook? I don't do that for people in the first week, sometimes even in the second week. I really want them to get acclimated on the program, have some success, be super familiar with the Quick Start Guide before they jump into the book and the workbook. If they want to, they can do it, but I'm not going to hound them about, oh my gosh, you haven't read, the first 5 chapters. These are adults we're working with. It's their program. But when they're ready for the book and the workbook, and maybe I've mentioned it three weeks down the road or a month down the road, I'll say, John, the easiest way is to look at lesson 1 in the workbook, read the corresponding chapters in the book, and then go back and do lesson 1. And listen, do you have any questions? Don't forget the nurses support call. It's tonight at 7:30. And I'm actually doing the doctor's call on Wednesday. So put those on your calendar. Page 19 of the Quick Start Guide. Have a great week. I'll call you next Monday. Oh, by the way, are you getting your water in? So those are the things that I cover. But you want to make a big deal when they're having results. So again, what do you say? Hi, Roxanne, can you talk right now? What are we celebrating? And Roxanne says, oh, I gained 3 pounds. This is too hard. I can't do it. I do have a Roxanne that, talks exactly like this. And I'll say, okay, honey, what happened? Well, I went on an eating binge and I was drinking over the weekend. And then I come back with, how did that make you feel? I feel like a failure. I can't do this. Well, Roxanne, when we first talked about this program, you said you wanted to be a role model for your children. You told me you wanted to reverse your diabetes. Is that still your goal? Do those things still speak to you? So you're talking calmly. They may be out of control and very emotional and, beating themselves up. You are like a mom calming your, child who probably needs to be in timeout. So always, keep your emotions in check, be soothing, be comforting, and just work through. Roxanne, you can do this. Okay, so you fell off the wagon, you're human. Lots of people do that. And so you help her feel good, feel that she can do this. Again, it's all about caring for the people. If they're on medications, that's where you have to be a little bit careful. And the medications and conditions that we worry about are blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes. Because those are the things that when people get to a healthy weight, they can usually reduce and even eliminate their medications. They can oftentimes reverse those medical conditions. So as their weight's coming down, you may find that they're feeling dizzy, they're feeling lightheaded, they're feeling headachy, So you really have to tune into those things when you're doing the profile form and you find out that they have those medical conditions. Now, physicians who know a lot about diabetes in their patients that are on insulin will cut the insulin in half on day one, because this program is so powerful. And when they're eating those low glycemic foods, which are our meal replacements, and they're eating a lean and green, low glycemic meal, suddenly their insulin requirement can really drop drastically. And it's much easier to pull up or to bring a blood sugar down than it is to try to pull it up if they get too low. So I'm going to give you an example here, and I'm giving you an example to show you how powerful our program is for diabetics, and just to warn you about being careful, not because you're going to be their doctor. They have their own doctor. Their doctor just needs to know that they're starting a weight loss program and so forth. And some physicians may not know that, these people need to be cut in half on their insulin from day one. So Carol is a new client that I started on this past Saturday, January the 24th. And she was taking 8 to 12 units of short-acting insulin 3 times a day, every time she had a meal. And then she was taking 28 units of long-acting insulin. Now, even though she was taking that much insulin, her blood sugars were in the mid-300s. The day after she started the program, her blood sugars were hovering around 150. And then a day later, day 2 on the program, 140. And what I did on day 1 is I stopped her short-acting insulin completely, and I cut her long-acting insulin in half. So again, lots of insulin, I cut it way back, and now her blood sugars, instead of being mid-300s, are now about 140, 150. So just keep that in mind. Let the client know this kind of information. Just have it in the back of your head, and tell them to let their doctor know they're starting a program, and that a lot of physicians that use Take Shape for Life in their practices cut the insulin in half. The other thing is, we have the doctor support call, so you can direct your clients to the doctor support call where they can ask questions. But again, the doctors on the support call are not their doctors, so they need to work with their physician. So some tidbits about coaching: you want to love your people, guide them, and support them. Never, ever beat them up, never criticize, and never judge them. People that struggle with weight have lots of things that they struggle with besides weight, and that's self-esteem and, judging themselves and beating themselves up and, feeling that like they're not worth whatever. So we don't need to jump on that bandwagon ever. People want to be listened to. They don't want to be talked down to. So all we're doing is helping them get back on the wagon if they fall off. And I oftentimes say, Roxanne, don't beat yourself up, honey. Okay, you failed this past weekend. You did a lot of things that were not on program. You went on an eating binge and you drank, but just get back on. Reread the Quick Start Guide. I say that all the time. Reread the Quick Start Guide. Get reacclimated. Make sure and get your water in. That makes such a difference. Get on that support call tonight. It's at 7:30, page 19 of the Quick Start Guide. If you can't get on the live call, listen to the playback. And also, Roxanne, use our Creating Health Facebook page, honey. Lots of people are struggling. Put that on Facebook, and you'll see how many other clients come to your rescue and give you tips and so forth. Also, as you're coaching your clients and they have questions about various things, like my high school friend John, struggles with sleep. He never sleeps enough. And I said to him, John, pull out Dr. A's Habits of Health book. He hadn't touched one single page. I said, pull out the book and read chapter 17. It's the chapter on sleep. You're going to learn a lot from that. Mary Jane, you've had rheumatoid arthritis for years. Oftentimes that can markedly improve by getting your weight down. Read the chapter on inflammation. You'll see how weight causes inflammation and affects autoimmune diseases and even creates autoimmune diseases. You've fallen off the wagon, Roxanne. Read chapters 3 and 4 on motivation. If they're, in transition and maintenance, or maybe they're going on a cruise and they're coming off the program for a week while they're on the cruise and they just want to maintain, read chapter 10 in Dr. Anderson's book. It's all, healthy or sample meal plans, and also sample 100-calorie snacks, and so forth. You don't have to have these chapters memorized. In fact, I just made this slide and I pulled out Dr. Anderson's book and I looked up the chapters. So I do not have these memorized. But empower them. So you're not regurgitating the information for them. You're telling them where they can go to find it, encouraging them to get on the support calls. What if you're coaching and now the scale isn't moving? They've plateaued for a couple of weeks. And what I explain, well, Mary, you lost 6 pounds or 2 weeks ago, you lost 6 pounds. And so your body's now acclimating. It's not going to be able to sustain 5 or 6 pounds every week. And so believe me, if you're true to the program, you're still losing inches, but the scale is going to show it, next week or the week after. So don't despair. Again, your body's just making some changes there. But then I review some tips with them just to make sure. I ask them if they're doing the program, if they're being true to the program. And oftentimes they'll say yes, but they need some fine tuning. So the fine tuning is, make sure you're eating your first meal replacement within the first hour of getting up. Don't go longer than 1 hour. Make sure you're getting all of your water in, at least 64 ounces of water a day, because the water helps to break down the fat and it also helps to flush it out of your system. Are you drinking diet soda? Your body sees diet soda like regular soda. So I know you're addicted to diet soda. Let's have you start to cut back on the diet soda. So maybe you're just drinking 2 a day and then eventually 1 a day. And then, I'd love for you to give it up completely, but, you don't have to do every single thing on day 1. Mary, try changing up the lean and green meal. Sometimes having it for lunch or in the middle of the day instead of, at 8 o'clock at night may make a difference. Make sure you go back to measuring your portions and weighing your protein, because you may have started to slip up on the portion sizes. Let's add some exercise. You've been on the program for, a month now. Let's have you start exercise in baby steps. Maybe walking for 30 minutes or riding your bike, swimming, with the kids in the pool if it's summertime. Next time you order, Mary, try the calorie burn infusers. They help to boost your metabolism. So give them some tips, that they can use. And then also in file folder number 3, just inside the back folder or the back cover, are all of these tips. If a client is in plateau, some of the things that you can cover with them and review with them. So make sure you're using the file folder system because it has great information. What if you call every week and the person never answers? I have a Vicky from Chicago. She never answers the phone. And she has told me that one of the reasons she doesn't answer is because she's a failure and she's not losing weight, and she'll lose it and then she gains it back, and she just doesn't want to tell me that. She knows I'm not going to be mad at her, but she just cannot bear to open her mouth and give information that's not positive. So what I do is I'll call her first and I'll leave a voicemail. And when I leave a voicemail for people that don't answer, I always give them some tip or two or three. So, hi, Vicki, this is Dee. I hope you had a great weekend, honey. I'm thinking of you. Please let me know what your weight is. If you can't talk this week, at least text me, and I'll call you next Monday. Are you having any challenges? Don't forget the nurse's support call. Also, I posted a reminder on my Facebook page. Reread the Quick Start Guide, Vicki, if you're struggling. And if I don't hear from you, I'll touch base with you next week. And so again, you're giving them some tidbits. But if if they don't feel like calling you this week, you're making it clear you're not giving up on them. You're going to, touch base with them next week. And then also, sometimes I will text them right away and I'll say, I left you a voicemail, because some people don't check their voicemails that often. I know sometimes I miss voicemails. Or I sent you an email or something. Would love to hear from you. At least let me know your weight this week. So they're taking you're making your calls, and you find out that Mary Jane is going on a cruise or she's going on vacation. And that's an opportunity to see what she wants to do while she's on vacation. So I'll say, well, Mary Jane, what would you like to do while you're on the cruise? Are you taking your meal replacements with you? And she may say, well, I paid for this. I don't want to take my meal replacements. That's fine, hon. How about if we, help you, give you some information to maintain during the week that you're gone? Read chapter 10 in Dr. Anderson's book. Read the sample breakfast, lunch, and dinner menus so you see the portions and the variety. And do, just make good choices while you're gone. Try to maintain, it's okay if you don't lose, but don't gain. Or you could switch them to a 4 and 2 while they're gone. 2 healthy meals, 4 meal replacements. Or a 3 and 3, 3 healthy meals, 3 meal replacements. So you want to find out what they want to do, and support them. Give them tips. Don't judge them if they want to come off for a week. So if they're modifying their program while they're vacationing or while they're on that cruise, again, read chapter 10, look through the sample breakfast, lunch, and dinner menu so you don't, go and eat or order the giant burger and the plate full of French fries. You're ordering the salmon and the broccoli, or the filet mignon and the asparagus. Make sure you're choosing lean and green. Watch your portion sizes. If you're taking your Metafast, I would encourage you to take some Metafast so that you can eat them like when you're, at the airport or in flight. If you're going to drink, they tell me I am going to have alcohol. Okay, if you're going to have alcohol, limit yourself to 1 or 2 drinks a day. And I'll give you some choices of what's better than something else. Better than a margarita, which is filled with sugar and so forth, would be a low carb, low calorie beer. Or you could have a vodka and a sparkling water with some lemon or lime. Those would be some better choices. Make sure you drink plenty of water when you're on your vacation. You're going to be on vacation, so exercise, walk the beach, go to the gym, go swimming, get some activity in there. If you're on the cruise, avoid the buffets. Go to the sit-down restaurants for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They do have them on the cruise ships, so you can order from the menu, and you're not overloading from a buffet. Do the best you can, and when you get back, I'll help you jump back on, and we'll get restarted. So again, you want to support them and be very positive. I want to say a little bit about asking for referrals as you're calling your clients. Again, you want to make a big deal. Oh my gosh, John, you've already lost 30 pounds. Are people noticing? Great. What are they saying? Or what are you saying when they ask what you're doing? And then John will say, well, I tell them I'm doing Medifast. So there's an opportunity right then and there. You know what, John? Let me coach you on this. When people ask what you're doing, don't say Medifast, and don't even say Take Shape for Life, because people will Google and then they can end up with another health coach. So if you would like me to coach your friends and family and coworkers, and I would love to, just say you're on a great program, you're working with a free health coach, and is it okay if I give my health coach your name and phone number? She will explain it much better than I can. And then, John, for every person you refer, I'll put $25 on your account towards your next order. So if you send me 4 people, that's $100. And I will do that even if you're no longer on program. I'll send you a check for $25, if you're no longer ordering. So that's my system for asking for referrals. And I am getting lots of referrals. It's so exciting because people want to share a good thing with their friends and family and coworkers. Surviving the holidays. When you're, getting into a holiday, Christmas or Easter or Thanksgiving, find out what they want. Do you want to continue on program 100%? Do you want to modify program on the holiday, which may be just 1 or 2 days, or do you want to maintain? So give them some options and then help them with those options, similar to the information that I gave if they're on vacation or they're going on a cruise. So your role as a health coach is to love, guide, and support. Don't judge, don't criticize, don't beat anyone up. It's their program, it's their money, it's their decision, it's their health. So all we want to do is be there for these people, ask them for referrals, check in by phone, don't get into texting and emailing everybody. This is a relational business, and if you start doing that, you're going to duplicate that in your coaches, and those clients will not stay on program very long. I do have some people where the only way they'll respond to me is by texting. I have besides Vicki in Chicago, I have another woman who's a nurse from Chicago. And, every time I called her, sometimes she'd pick up the phone and she'd say, oh, I'm watching television. Can you call me in 2 hours? I'm calling her at 6 o'clock and she wants me to call her back at 8. And this was week after week, or she didn't answer. So now what I do is I text her every week. She responds to the text. I get her weight, but I am not going to be calling her and then, 2 hours later she wants to be called because of a television program or whatever. So that's working well for her. Always thank them, be very grateful. These clients are helping us create an extraordinary business in life. And with your health coaching, you want to develop your own style. We all have our own style. Your style may be very different than mine. Make your own hours. Like Johnny calls a few people over 5 days. I call everybody on Mondays. And then I do other, Take Shape for Life related functions on, Tuesday through Friday. Love your clients, and I mean love them. If you love them and you show them your heart, oh my gosh, I've got people that have been ordering for 5 years, more than 5 years. Become a great health coach. I was a lousy health coach when I first started. And I mean that. I was not good. I wasn't consistent. I was judgmental. I was sometimes abrupt, and I'm not like that. We get better as we go on. There is a learning curve. Have fun, and let your clients know that it's okay for them to have fun. Know in your heart that you're saving lives, because we are saving lives with our program.